Many months ago, I made a top 10 video about hidden places in Guild Wars 2, and there are a lot of hidden places in the game. Lots of people wanted me to highlight more, and I got several suggestions for places to highlight. So here is a sequel to that video in a very similar format, but not technically the top 10, because that's what the original video is. I collected 10 more places, and I want to show them to all of you. So let's get started. In the number 10 spot is a hidden area at Foefire's Heart. This is a very cool area that has existed since vanilla Guild Wars 2, but became significantly easier to get to as expansions have released, where we have Foefire's Heart located in the Plains of Ashford, which is the location that King Adelburn casted the Foefire from, the spell that annihilated the invading Char forces and turned the people of Ascalon into ghosts. This is a pretty important lore location, and we go under this place in the Ascalonian Catacombs dungeon, but in this location above the chamber in the dungeon is a pretty cool area of slightly buried Ascalonian ruins. You can get in super easily with a mount and then run around down here and see all the different details. I really like how this is kind of just an out of bounds area that had a lot of details put into it. It's nice when the backdrops and maps and whatnot have a lot of details because it makes exploring maps more immersive, but this location has quite a bit to it with lots of different rooms and whatnot. I especially like the fireplace that is reminiscent of the Foefire's energies. In the number 9 spot is a secret tunnel in Behem's Gauntlet. This location is a jumping puzzle where you basically have to carefully drop down to the chest instead of climb to it. It's a pretty big area that has a lot of water with some tunnels going into it. If you haven't taken the time to explore this area outside of just getting to the chest, I highly recommend it, but if you dive down into the water, you can find the entrance to a pretty large tunnel system that spans a good chunk of the Blazer's steps. There is not too much to say about this location because there are not a lot of intricate details. It's just a lot of tunnels with stone walls filled with water. But it's just a pretty cool spot that I didn't know about until it was pointed out to me in the previous video, and it's cool to see very expansive areas that are hidden from a typical adventurer's path. In the number 8 spot is the Bitterfrost Frontier Vantage Point. I think this is less of a hidden spot given the fact that a lot of people knew about this location when the map originally came out. It was a pretty popular screenshot location on social media. There's even a teleportation gizmo that you used to get from Blackline chests, but can now buy with Blackline statuettes, where this gizmo took you directly to this vantage point that you can see way off in the distance from down below. But this map originally released in November of 2016, which is over 7 years ago, and I haven't seen this mentioned recently, where overall it is just a very pretty area. Bitterfrost Frontier is a very nice looking map, and this is a nice little corner of it. It is indeed a nice vantage point where you can sit and look out across the map. Nowadays, you can still get that teleportation gizmo, but you can also get up here with mounts. One final cool part about this location is how cool it looks at night, where it becomes very dark and purpley. In the number 7 spot is Aurora's Remains. This is an off the beaten path area located in Brisbane Wildlands that a lot of Guild Wars 1 veterans should recognize. And this is another spot that is less hidden, but I have wanted to showcase it anyways. When I completed the vanilla world for the first time, I never knew that this place existed, and it wasn't until my second or third run through that I realized that you could come up to this location, where it is a pretty cool spot that you come to for a couple of achievements that were added after it was added to the game. And the important part about this location is an event that takes place here, where you have to help some ghostly Shining Blade agents fight back against ghostly White Mantle cultists, including a ghostly demagogue, where this is a very direct reference to the original Guild Wars, where you do the same exact thing, except everybody isn't a ghost. I always love to see references to the original Guild Wars, and a rough recreation of one of the original missions is always a fun idea. And I especially like how, while this is a pretty big area, it took me a while to even discover it in the first place back in the day, because it isn't a place you would normally go to. In the number 6 spot are the World vs. World Borderlands Cat Rooms, where these are technically three pretty important locations that players come to in the World vs. World Borderlands to buy minis, and more importantly buy the Catmander's Compendium, which gives you a whole new set of commander tags that are in the shape of a cat's head to use while you command a squad. The original version of this room is located in the Alpine Borderlands for the blue and green teams, where you have to come to the jumping puzzle in the northwestern corner of the map. You can do a tricky jump to get through some foliage and enter the room where you can find the merchant as well as a boy swinging back and forth. Where this is a developer's mark that we saw in my top 10 secrets video. Where the Alpine Borderlands Cat Room is pretty cool, but we can also come to the Desert Borderlands for the red team where we can find a similar room. If you come to the northwestern corner of the map, there isn't a jumping puzzle, but there are a couple of tricky jumps you can do that will lead you into a massive chamber filled with quag and hatchlings, and the vendor you need. And I just love these two areas. Way back in the day, the Alpine Borderlands Cat Room was just a completely random area that people liked to get to because it was a hidden secret. And I remember when the Catmander tag was originally released, people flocked to these areas of the world, and I remember having such a hard time getting into the Desert Borderlands room because of the amount of PvP that was going on, alongside the tricky jumps you needed to do. In the number 5 spot is the Ossan Quarter Nook. This is a very tiny secret area that I have loved for a long time now. The Ossan Quarter is located in Divinity's Reach and is the Ascalonian district in the city, housing many cool buildings and decorations and whatnot. But next to the southeastern entrance to the quarter is a small, closed-off area that is stuck between multiple buildings. There is no direct entrance to this place, as it serves as kind of a backyard for a couple of people's homes, so you'll have to jump down into it. Located here is just a very relaxing and peaceful spot with a ton of flowers, cool lamps, a noble and a child talking, a cool statue, and a very cool chair that you can now sit in. I just really like this area because it is a random spot in Divinity's Reach that not a lot of people know about. It is a very relaxing and pretty area, and I like to come here every now and then to just chill in these people's backyard. And the number 4 spot is the Order Whispers base located in the stronghold of Ebonhawke. In the previous video, I shouted out all of the Order Whispers bases around the world and highlighted 2 of them, so I thought I'd do another here. Where just like a couple of other spots on this list, I didn't actually know about this until pretty recently, or I did know about at some point but just forgot. Near the Fallen Angels Garrison Waypoint is a building that has an Order Whispers flag on it. In hindsight, I probably should have known about this spot, and it's not really hidden given the fact that they are advertising the fact that it is here. But anyways, you can go inside to explore a pretty cool building that has one of the Founding of Ebonhawke books that you need for that achievement. But off in one corner of the house is an Ebon Vanguard soldier that you can talk to, where you can talk to this Order Whispers agent in disguise to learn a little bit about this area, where you can open the door and enter into the base, which is pretty cool. You got a few different agents around here, including a char that you can talk to, alongside a bunch of different decorations and another Founding book. I definitely came to this area at some point and just completely forgot about it. The coolest decoration in this room is a giant document that the Order Whispers are examining. There's a lot of stuff on this document, but you can easily make out a few drawings that look like a Leviathan, an Orion Arch, a Canthan structure, and an Asura Gate. And one final thing about this area is a concealed door that serves as a back entrance into this place, with a secret passage that you can go through that leads to the fields in Ebonhawke. In the number 3 spot is Zinn's Cave. This was a highly suggested location in the last video, so I thought I would go ahead and highlight it here, where in Tangled Depths you can begin a bit of a lengthy journey to get to a hidden area. Where starting from the Dragon's Passage waypoint, you can make your way to the water system underneath Tangled Depths. You then follow the channels until you go into a crystal cavern underneath the Ogre camp. In this cavern is the start of a fun jumping puzzle that has 2 parts. The first is the crystal cavern itself, where you have to jump across all the crystals without falling into the water. Once you do that, you come to a bunch of tree roots that you can begin climbing up all the way to the top. With the release of the various mounts, the entire process becomes a lot easier. Using a skimmer in the water chambers makes that much faster and easier. Then using a sky skill or another mount to help you in the jumping puzzle also makes it significantly easier, but you also have gliding that you can use to your advantage as well. Once you reach the top, you can talk to a golem guarding the door, give the right answer, and go through the newly opened door into this cool chamber. It is an old Assyrian structure with decorations similar to that of Rada Novus. It is very pretty with a ton of purple mushrooms all along the ground and purple plants hanging from the ceiling. And in the center of the room, up on the ceiling, is a giant disco ball, where in order to complete this puzzle, also known as Disco Dancing Dilver, you can type in /dance into your chat log to begin dancing. This will give you the achievement and also create a fun, small little world event that will begin taking place around the room. In the number 2 spot is the cave system underneath the Cereboth Canyon Waterfalls. This is kind of a random spot that I just really like a lot. It's also a spot that exists out in the open world in the middle of the map without anything really blocking it, but it is a spot that I discovered very recently. I don't know why, but I just never really thought about or noticed that this cave existed. You have the vista up top that shows you a cool overview of the area, but I never really noticed the cave until recently. This entire area is very pretty with all the waterfalls, the river, and all the plants and wildlife. The river itself is actually one of my favorite rivers in all of Guild Wars 2, but going inside the cave, it's just pretty cool. I really like the cave structure itself with all the different turns and layers and whatnot. there are more waterfalls inside of the cave with water that leads out into the river as well as through another entrance. You have drakes and oozes scattered throughout. You have these cool fallen rocks that are blocking the path through the cave that you can break in order to get around. You have a bunch of cave trolls, including a veteran one protecting a rich iron vein. And you got a bunch of plants all around this area. I feel a little silly that I never noticed this cave existed because I probably passed by it upwards of 10,000 times, but nevertheless it is super cool and I like it a lot. And now for the number 1 spot. For my favorite hidden spot in Guild Wars 2 from the 10 that I am showcasing on this list, and it is a hidden jumping puzzle in the Ascalonian Catacombs dungeon. This is a highly requested location that I have known about for a long time but never went to check it out until recently. As you progress through Ascalonian Catacombs, especially paths 1 and 3, you can eventually reach the Lair of the Patriarch. This is where you fight the final boss for those 2 respective paths. And as you fight the final boss, or sit around in the area after killing them, you can see a set of old Ascalonian style stairs in the far side of the room that you can begin making your way up of. There are some nooks and crannies that are pretty cool, but as you reach the top, you can pass through some foliage covering a hidden entrance to a giant chamber. And this chamber is super cool. It's a massive open area with a deep, dark pit and Ascalonian ruins all around. There are many pillars throughout the central area of the room where you can jump around parts of this room to get to the other side. But a very interesting thing going on here are how there are ethereal wooden planks that connect most of the pillars to each other so you can walk along them. I'm not entirely sure if this was a design choice or if they were not fully implemented, and they seem to be a little broken graphically, but they are cool nonetheless. As you make your way from pillar to pillar into the other side of the room, you're at a dead end. If you look up, you can see what seems to be an entrance to another area, but I don't believe there's any way to get up there. For people wondering what exactly this is, it's pretty simple. As ArenaNet were designing and creating Guild Wars 2, they were experimenting with implementing jumping puzzles in various ways, like in dungeons, where they were experimenting with and testing this location as a jumping puzzle, but decided against having it in the dungeon. As such, it was scrapped. But this area is still available to explore for people who are interested in looking around. And as someone who absolutely loves jumping puzzles, I love this location and I wish I had explored it sooner. If you ever have a moment after completing an Ascalonian Catacombs run, I highly recommend that you come check out this area. And that's my list. This was pretty fun to do, and let me know what you think about this video. It's a little bit different than what I normally do with these types of videos, and I want to do more in the future because Guild Wars 2 just has so many cool areas. If you want me to highlight a specific location in a future video, let me know. I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Have a good one, everyone.